Carnotaurus versus Allosaurus. This is a battle that many people in paleo media have been arguing about, and some said Allosaurus would win, some said Carnotaurus would win, some people were unsure. So today we're going to put an end to that. So buckle up. Carnotaurus versus Allosaurus. But before we get started, I just want you guys to know that I will soon be making a Q&A, so feel free to give me any question and I'll answer it. You can go to my community section on my channel, scroll down until you see it, and tell me the question. Without further ado, let's get started. We will first be talking about the stats of both animals. Let's start with Allosaurus. We will have Allosaurus fragilis participate in this battle because it is the best known Allosaurus species. This animal weighed 1.7 to 2.7 tons, measured 8.5 meters long, stood 2.5 meters tall, belongs in the family Allosauridae, which is part of Allosauroidea, and lived 155 to 145 million years ago in the Tethonian stage of the late Jurassic. This is one of the most famous dinosaurs, and it is a cool dinosaur. It has a nice look, and it lived alongside other carnivores in the Morrison Formation, like Torosaurus, Ceratosaurus, and the larger Saurophaganax. Pretty nice if you ask me. Now let's talk about Carnotaurus. The only species of Carnotaurus is Carnotaurus sastre. The animal weighed 2.1 tons, measured 7.5 to 8 meters long, stood 2.5 meters tall, is part of the Allosauridae family, which is part of Allosauroidea, and lived 71 to 69 million years ago in the Maastrichtian stage of the late Cretaceous. This predator is also famous, bizarre, and extraordinary with its small, yet slightly useful arms, and famous horns on its short head. This animal got a lot of love in some shows, especially Prehistoric Planets, and we could include movies like Disney's Dinosaur. There are many people who turned into fanboys when they saw this animal at first sight. Some people love it because they say it looks cool or amazing. Now, let's talk about the weapons and attack methods of these theropods. Let's see what Allosaurus has got. When it came to bite force, the jaws of Allosaurus had a force of 3,600 newtons, 600 newtons weaker than that of a lion's. However, the bite of an Allosaurus is still dangerous, despite the bite force being quite weak. This is because of the teeth. The teeth of Allosaurus, and perhaps every other Allosaurid, have long and sharp teeth. These teeth were obviously not designed for crushing, otherwise they would break, but these teeth were perfect for tearing apart prey and inflicting serious wounds, which could lead to blood loss. Allosaurus also used its claws as a weapon, perfect for slashing and gripping onto its prey. Because Carnotaurus is not a large animal, the attack method of Allosaurus was to slash the rival with its claws, but also use the claws to grip on to its rival and sink its teeth with its serrated teeth. Sorry about that. But on the other hand, Carnotaurus didn't need arms to grip. As you can see, Carnotaurus and other Allosaurids have short skulls with broad snouts. This is not something to make fun of because the skull is a danger zone, especially with Carnotaurus. The skull possesses teeth much different than that of a Carnosaurus teeth. The teeth are short, strong, and quite thick, and these teeth are perfectly designed for biting and gripping rather than slashing. We're not sure about the bite force of Carnotaurus, but what we do know is that it is much stronger than that of an Allosaurus. The arms were like an evolutionary leftover. This is something Allosaurids and Tyrannosaurids share in common. If you only use your mouth and possess a strong bite force which helps with struggling prey, who needs arms? Another reason why the head of Carnotaurus is dangerous is because of the top of its head. The two horns of Carnotaurus were perfect for intimidating rivals. Allosaurus would have done the same thing with its crest, but the Carnotaurus also rammed its rivals. Some people have even said that the Carnotaurus used its horns to inflict wounds. This would be harder for the Allosaurus to try to attack since it had to deal with the horns. Next, we will be talking about speed and agility. People believe that the Allosaurus was very, very fast, and it was quite fast, but not as fast as you think. Some people said that the Allosaurus ran 34.4 miles per hour. This is wrong, because the Allosaurus actually ran 25 miles per hour, which is still fast. Some scientists have also said that the Allosaurus was an agile predator. People say that the Carnotaurus is very fast, and it is, running 31 miles per hour faster than the Allosaurus. However, it is said that the Carnotaurus was not very agile. If a Carnotaurus saw an Allosaurus in the distance and decided to ambush it, it would miss because it wasn't going straight. Now, let's see all of the stats of our competitors. The Allosaurus was larger, more robust, had claws, had a more lethal bite, was more agile, and likely had more experience in it, since it had to deal with other theropods at the time. Now, I'm not going to be including Ceratosaurus because these two were most likely to have very different niches. Carnotaurus, on the other hand, had its strong bite force, speed, strong hit, which included the horns, and perhaps protection on its side. I'm guessing the protection was from the cluster of condensed scoots, which is what the bumps of Carnotaurus are called according to some scientists. And they weren't as protective, but might rather have decreased very little of the effectiveness of the Allosaurus bite. Before we start the battle, note that these two animals lived in different continents and time periods, so confrontations between Allosaurus and Carnotaurus were never a thing. Also, note that the scenario is not the best. With the scenario complete, let's begin. Allosaurus versus Carnotaurus. At first, the two carnivores meet, but they did not start to fight right away. Instead, they tried to intimidate each other. Animals of today do the same thing. In this scenario, both competitors are not deterred, so they start circling each other. Once again, both carnivores are not deterred, and because of this, the only thing that these two animals can do as a way of confrontation is to fight. So, the fight starts. Carnotaurus makes the first move and lunges at Allosaurus, but because of its terrible agility, well, the Carnotaurus misses. This gives the Allosaurus a chance to make its move, and it slashes the face of the Carnotaurus, but by doing so, it gets rammed by the Carnotaurus. Now, the Allosaurus scratches the Carnotaurus again, but the Carnotaurus responds and wins its head against the Allosaurus. But the Allosaurus is able to bite into the Carnotaurus and grips onto it with its arms and bites again. However, the Carnotaurus jabs one of its horns onto the leg of the Allosaurus, causing the Allosaurus to let go. The Carnotaurus almost falls but holds its ground. It then locks its jaws into the neck of the Allosaurus. Using its claws, the Allosaurus hits the Carnotaurus until it lets go. Both competitors are now exhausted and severely injured. They know if they keep fighting, both will succumb to their wounds. The Allosaurus begins to try to intimidate the Carnotaurus again, but before the Allosaurus does so, the Carnotaurus is already limping away. In this scenario, the Allosaurus is victorious. I would say 40% and 60% in the Allosaurus' favor, despite being fast and having a strong bite, force, and horns. Carnotaurus isn't really built to deal with other theropods. Well, that's the end of the video. Thank you all for watching, and if you enjoyed the video, don't forget to like and subscribe, and ask me any question for my Q&A. And I'll see you on the next one.